Hey, welcome to the Danger Zone. It's Ashley. You can find everything in my video somewhere on a public domain. The full disclaimer is down below. Lots of love and many blessings your way. Thank you, Deborah. I appreciate you.
Who aren't just poised to change the world, but who've already begun changing the world. Last month, I had a chance to speak to the 2020 class at my high school alma mater, which is an all-girls school in Los Angeles. And I said that they shouldn't see their graduation as an ending, but rather as a beginning. The beginning of a journey where they can now harness their work, their values, and the skills, all the skills that they've learned, to rebuild the world around them. Now, many of you have already spent years embodying and, yes, even enacting the change you'd like to see in the world. Yet the opportunity that lies ahead for you is the same one that those graduates and millions of young women around the world have as well. I want to share something with you. It's that those in the halls and corridors and places of power, from lawmakers to world leaders to executives, all of those people, they depend on you more than you will ever depend on them. And here's they know this. They know that all of you at a younger age than any modern comparison are setting the tone for an equitable humanity, not figuratively, literally. This is a humanity that desperately needs you. To push it, to push us forcefully in a more inclusive, more just, and more empathetic direction, and to not only frame the debate, but to be in charge of the debate. On racial justice, on gender, climate change, mental health and well-being, on civic engagement, on public service, on so much more. That's the work that you are already out there doing. Girl Scout members are organizing Black Lives Matter protests around the world. You're creating films. You're creating films to encourage your peers to become activist leaders. You are reforming the criminal justice system. We need more mental health resources for all ages. You're leading coalitions to end gun violence. You are standing up and demanding to be heard, yes, but you are also demanding to own the conversation. Another thing about those lawmakers and leaders and executives I mentioned earlier. Now, many of them, better or worse, they don't listen until they have to. Because the status quo is easy to excuse and it's hard to break. But it will pull tightest right before snapping. Women have always historically gotten a lot of, well, that isn't how it's done, or yeah, that's an idea, but you know what, we're going to do this instead. But when do we hear that as women? We hear that in the moments that we challenge the norms. So if that's the case, I say to you, keep challenging, keep pushing, make them a little uncomfortable, because it's only in that discomfort that we actually create the conditions to reimagine our standards, our policies, and our leadership, to move towards real representation and meaningful influence over the structures of decision-making and power.
That was totally gag worthy, was it not? I don't know if anybody else realizes this, but in my own personal opinion, I feel like this is, each time she speaks, it's almost like she's trying to outdo her last speech. Like she's totally giving it her gusto. She's honing her craft. Because she and Harry both have already signed up to be professional speakers. And what we're basically watching with each one of these nauseating speeches is her resume. Really fast, I'd like to thank the person that left the comment regarding this picture being taken at Epstein Island. I believe they're so right, and I'm sorry I don't remember your name. Everything totally matches up. From what's out in the distance, the mountains, to the stone wall they're sitting on. That's Epstein's Island, in my opinion. And she has the audacity to sit there in front of a camera lens talking about empowering women, young girls, future leaders. Girl up, she says. Telling people to be empathetic, to shut the noise off. It's all noise. The negativity is just noise. Talking about empathy, that one was just, it blew me away. Where was her empathy for the prostitutes that she wrote, "You're wonderful, you're going to have a great day, you are brave," on their fruit, on their bananas? In all reality, Those messages were meant for little Miss Meghan. She was simply trying to get a good photo op. Anybody with a brain would have never pulled a stunt like that. So disrespectful. And did you guys happen to notice? She was just trying to add fuel to the fire. Keep protesting. Keep doing your Black Lives Matter. I'm going to make a Black Lives Matter video in the near future. Just bear with me. I want people to better understand what's really going on. And I have to agree with my sweet friend Kay. She totally has a personality disorder. In our opinion, I have to say that. I don't feel like she has the authority to speak on empowerment for women. Somebody that comes in hot, losing their emotions, mistreating people that are there for them, I don't find empowering. Women that strong-arm men into relationships, I don't find empowering. Shooing the homeless away so they don't ruin the looks of your wedding day, that's not empowering to me. Spending tons of money on fashion, that's not empowering to me, especially when the world around them are hurting. Nah, that's not empowering. Making kids cry, that's not empowering. Having a sassy attitude, looking like, the world should bend in your favor, that's not empowering. Slugging a hot cup of tea on somebody, that's not empowering. Bitching your husband around in front of the entire world, that's not empowerment. Treating people like peons, that's not empowerment. Stealing from a country's finances, that's not empowerment at all. Faking a pregnancy, that is not empowerment. And just really fast, not that this has a thing to do with the next. Why in the hell is she starting to wear ballet flats and sneakers? She's not pregnant. The days of her ballet flats and sneakers, that ship has done sailed. I never understood why it was so imperative that she always came out in high heels. I'm not a very political person at all, but I can say this. I don't ever think disrespecting your president, and I don't care who it is ever a good look for anybody, no matter who you are. She's especially talking about unification and solidarity and empathy and all this other crap, but she doesn't live it. And what really grated on my nerves is how she was really fast in 2016 to talk about Trump being a misogynistic pig. Now let's talk about a friend who was also there today on the Zoom call. Another person trying to empower women. Check it out.
She was even Hillary Clinton. Hillary Rodham was a 27-year-old trial lawyer in Arkansas with a southern drawl and big ambitions. She was asked by a judge to defend a 42-year-old man accused of raping a 12-year-old girl. Now, Clinton was able to plea bargain down the sentence to just 1 year in prison, which was then reduced to time served. But the victim, who is now 52 years old, is speaking out to the Daily Beast and saying that one of the most famous women in the world put her through hell. She also has a message now for the former Secretary of State.
You lied on me. I just realized the truth of it. It's hard back in '06 after I got out of prison. I just studied a little bit. I realized the truth now hard of what you done to me. I said, man, you're supposed to be it for women? You call that for women? What you done to me? And I heard you on tape laughing.
She first spoke out in 2008 at an interview with reporter Glenn Thrush published in Newsday. These new comments come after an audio recording of an interview with Mrs. Clinton from the early 1980s was dug up by the conservative website The Washington Free Beacon. In that clip, Mrs. Clinton seems to admit she knew the defendant was guilty.
Took a lot of second tests. I had the Congress. And she passed. She forever destroyed my faith in Congress. And I was all the more.
Took a lot of second tests. I had the Congress. And she passed. Forever destroyed my faith in Congress. And I was all the more.
Was guilty. Took a lot of second tests. I had the Congress. And she passed. Forever destroyed my faith in Congress. And I was all the more.
We're serious about building a better, stronger, fairer world. We have to be serious about investing in girls. Some of the most inspiring people I've met have been girls and young women. who are supporting their communities during this pandemic, who are dismantling systemic racism, confronting climate change, working to end child marriage, helping to give more girls the chance to get an education, expanding opportunities in STEM, supporting immigrants and refugees, pursuing justice for survivors of sexual assault and human trafficking, and yes, so much more.
Pursuing justice for survivors of sexual assault and human trafficking, and yes, so much more.
She's laughing on audio over losing her faith in polygraph test because her client passed it, and she knew he was guilty over raping a 12-year-old girl and this man in his 40s. What a devil. She ruined this woman's life. She dragged her reputation through the mud at 12 years old. She verbally tortured this young 12-year-old girl on the stand. This 12-year-old girl that was brave enough to come out and talk about it, to at least report it. Instead of trying to empower this 12-year-old girl, she drags her through the mud and ruins her life. Yeah, she sure did. This woman's name is Kathy Shelton. If you ever get a minute, read her story. No child seeks out to be raped. Yet, Hillary Clinton stood in front of an entire courtroom full of people, making it out like this 12-year-old girl wanted it. How's that for empowering girls? She should have been more of an empowered woman herself. If I had been a criminal defense attorney and somebody came at me saying, look, here's your client and here's what he's guilty of and it's your job. I'm going to skip a few meals and pay a little less bills. I'm not defending anybody as a woman that rapes a little girl. But we are talking about Hillary Clinton here. Gotta make that money, that's all that matters. And her husband, you want to talk a male chauvinistic pig? How about it, Meghan? This joker disrespected the United States of America by having some kinky, nasty whatever down in the Oval Office. It's not just any office, think about it. Did you know that he and Hillary both are regulars, or used to be, at Zora Ranch in New Mexico? How's that for an empowered woman? Here's Bubba, as he's nicknamed, just like little Archie, getting a rub down by one of Epstein's girls. His and Hillary's picture is hanging in the house at Zora Ranch. If anybody walking God's green earth happens to be a misogynistic pig, it is most definitely Bill Clinton. Just in case you didn't know that, Meghan. Now, when Michelle Obama's not trying to empower women like she was trying to today, she's trying to stir the pot and create a race war. Remember her white flight speech years ago? Yeah, they were trying it then too. And wouldn't an empowered woman want to protect children? I don't see any of that here. And they have an excuse for everything, by the way. This picture here of this young girl sitting on his lap, that was said to have been his niece. He was just having a cuddle session. Totally innocent. Can't you tell? They look so much alike. How about this picture? He's kissing a random child in the mouth. Oh, I don't think so. Y'all, I have allowed my emotions to get away from me. My sincerest apologies. But I am well over watching this facade go down. Always do your own research. Don't take anybody's word for nothing. Man or woman, boy or girl, that will empower you. So after watching all the BS today, and knowing what we know now, which is literally the tip of the iceberg, their little empowerment summit should be called Girl Please, not Girl Up. I'll see y'all soon and we'll talk fast. Please stay safe and be blessed.